Hello, welcome back to the next segment of the Max tutorials. In this video, we are going to be reviewing the daily pages in both the Max 4M and 2M. So right now, what we are looking at are the Max 2M daily pages. So what we have decided to do moving forward is both Max tools, the 2M and the 4M, are undated. That means that you can begin and at any month or day or week that you get the tool. So essentially the 2M tool is a 10-week, 2-month, or 70-day tool. The 4M is either 4 months, 20 weeks, or a 140-day tool. So as we see, we're looking at our daily page. One side, basically today is, you put in whatever the date is. Today's focus, that's whatever you want to bring about focus to during that day. It could be, how you're going to show up for that day. Like today, my focus is to stay energized, or today my focus is to stay focused. Or today my focus is to maybe it's task oriented, so it could be I need to finish. For me, it's let me finish doing these recordings today. So whatever your focus is for the day. The energy rating, we have an energy rating from 1 to 5. And usually I recommend not determining what your energy rating is until the end of the day. So when you're doing your evening routine and just kind of looking over your day, planning tomorrow, that's the time to go in and determine what did my energy look like today. So a 1 might be energy if you were, let's say, sick and you laid in bed all day or you couldn't get out of bed all day. That'd probably be a 1. So lowest level of being able to function. A 2 would be, maybe you weren't necessarily sick, but didn't really do much. I didn't have the energy to get off the couch for the day watching TV. Didn't really have the energy to cook food for yourself, so you ordered in maybe, or maybe you just didn't eat at all, right? So you can see how the energy rating is really very much aligned with our functioning for any particular day. 3 would be, maybe you were able to function, go to work, do the things that you needed to do, but you just felt really yucky all day. And certainly didn't decide to do as much of your day. Maybe it was just kind of like, I had to survive through this day. A 4 is, maybe a typical day where you felt like, okay, I had decent energy. It wasn't anything spectacular, but I was able to get through my day. I got some things done. Maybe not everything that I wanted to do, but I felt generally good. A 5 energy level would be, I felt amazing today. I had enough energy to get through the day from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. I got all the things on today's plan accomplished that I said I wanted to. I got my workout in, right? Like all the things that you're just feeling on. So that's how I would kind of, just think about when you review your energy. So you can kind of listen to this and go back to determine what the energy was for you. So I don't know if maybe you're like me. I remember when I started using the tool, I would never circle a 5. I wouldn't let myself. There was something about a 5 that I was like, I won't let myself circle a 5. And sometimes that was because I was tired at the end of my day when I was determining what my energy was. But I decided to look at that and evaluate that. And here's the thing, you guys, naturally, by the end of a really good day, we're still going to feel tired. That shouldn't determine that our energy during that day was less than. I think that if we were able to accomplish all the things that we set out to during that day, we did our workout, we did our morning and evening routines, we ate generally, I think if we did all that stuff, by all means, give yourself permission to circle a 5. So I'll just add that little note in there. Wake up in bed, that's exactly what it is. It's just determining when did I wake up? Let me jot that little note down. When did I go to bed? Let me jot that little note down. So moving down the page, we have our daily 5. So these are 5 habits that are already laid out for us that we are working to incorporate in our life. And why do we decide to incorporate these 4 prescribed, and one is up to you as the individual to determine what that one is going to be. But the other 4 were very intentional in regards to, here's the thing, how are we going to start increasing our energy level? Because energy is very linked to everything we do in our life. And so using energy as our foundation for where we go from there. So if we have high energy, if our energy is good, then we have high quality thinking, which then leads to higher states of feeling, which then allows us to go about making decisions or behaving in our life in a way that is also high quality and feels good. When our energy is low, we usually are at a lower quality of thinking. Our thoughts might be rooted in negativity or self-doubt or anger or frustration, right? That equate to those emotional states as well, which then leads to decision making and behavior that is very different. The behavior we have when we have a low energy is extremely different from the decisions and the behavior that we have when we have high energy. And so those decisions or those behaviors that we make when we are low energy, we can also say those are our coping mechanisms. And so, I usually share with my clients that all coping is coping. It's just we have positive or productive ways of coping, or we have maladaptive ways of coping. And really the easiest way to tell whether or not our chosen behavior or coping mechanism is actually providing us with a healthy, productive outlet is how long we feel relief after choosing that behavior. So let's say in the moment we choose something, it feels really, really good to choose that. But that feeling of, yes, it feels really good to choose this, only lasts maybe an hour or 2 hours before we start then doubting, judging, shaming, feeling guilty, or feeling bad about ourselves for whatever reason, whatever thing we chose to cope with in that moment. And so how we can tell if it's productive or healthy or adaptive coping is the long-term benefit that we feel after choosing that behavior. Such as, I chose to go out for a walk instead of lay on the couch and watch TV, right? So going out for a walk allows us to, first of all, it's going to start to build some energy for us. And that allows us to then start thinking higher feeling thoughts, which just allows us to start feeling better. And the other thing is there's nothing on the other side of that says, oh, I shouldn't have done that, right? There's no judgment for making that decision to go out for a walk in the same way that there would be if you chose to just lay on the couch. And I'm not saying every decision has the same weight, but I'm pretty sure that if you're listening to me right now, you might be able to use some scenarios from your own life in which you may have felt this. So I'll just give another example. So if your default coping mechanism when you're angry, frustrated, exhausted, tired, whatever, when you're low in that low quality thinking feeling state is to, let's say I'm going to pour myself a glass of alcohol to cope in that moment, right? And then what happens? There's usually more behavior that comes after that decision. And so here's the thing. how long does your relief really last from drinking whatever that beverage was? Probably not that long, because whenever it wears off, whether it's in an hour or two or maybe the next morning, there you are, still there with yourself, dealing with whatever it was you were choosing to cope with at that time. Versus, let's say, instead of choosing to pour the drink, you, again, I'll just use this one, you decided to go for a walk. There's not going to be anything on the other side of going for that walk in the same way that there is when you decide to pour yourself the drink. After the drink, here's the thing, it might feel good in the moment, but long term, it doesn't feel good. In the same way that maybe choosing to go for the walk, there's nothing on the other end of that that comes back and berates or belittles you. So, this is just kind of the foundation of really understanding how our energy impacts us throughout the day, week, month, and overall just in our life, and it spreads out from there. Our energy, the energy that we carry, will determine the quality of the communication we have in our relationships. The energy that we carry will determine how we feed ourselves during the day or night, what we choose to put into our bodies. The energy that we carry will determine the next steps that we take to do whatever we're going to do in our life. And when we're feeling low, the quality of those steps is usually a lot less than when we're feeling high. So I really want to provide that foundation around why the energy rating is so important. And as I go through this daily page, there's so many elements here, right, that will really help you as you're getting into building awareness, will really help you to establish and understand how the things that you do throughout the day either help you gain energy or maintain or sustain energy, or really take away your energy and deplete your energy. So let's move on. So in our daily 5, that's one of the reasons why we are hydrating. I think that if we are not intentional about if we're drinking enough water, we tend to just drink enough to be alive. There's some statistic out there, I can't think of exactly what it is, but it's basically that most of us are walking around chronically dehydrated, and we don't understand the impact that that has on our cognition, on our memory, on our energy. And so, hydration is a key part of our daily 5. And that's why we are doing that. We are being intentional about hydrating our bodies and our brain. If you listened, I think, to my daily routines overview, I think I talk a little bit more about why we're drinking water, and you can do a quick Google search that tells you, all the benefits that come from drinking more water. Not only does it improve cognition and really help to hydrate our brain, it helps our bodies to digest our food, and it helps with blood flow, it helps clear up our skin. It's just really this detoxifying, it helps with the detoxification of our bodies so that we can function and operate better. So that's number 1 of our daily 5. Number 2 is wake up by, and there's no time there. That's for you to determine. Okay, actually, let me go back to the water. So there's a blank line there because basically the rule of thumb is to drink half your body weight, whatever weight you are right now, take that and cut it in half. Half your body weight in ounces every single day in water. Other things that you consume can count, but I really wouldn't count sugary beverages, alcoholic beverages, and I tend not to even count caffeine. And so make sure that you're getting in your half your body weight in ounces in water every single day. Yes, I will add with that you are going to have to use the bathroom a lot. However, that is one of the prices we pay for having a well-hydrated brain and a healthier body. So that allows us to feel more energetic and just overall more, I think, alert and focused in our life. Number two, we have wake up by. So this is really for you to determine. I think I talked about this in routines as well. When we wake up at the last minute that we absolutely can, in order to just leave ourselves enough time to get ready in the morning so that we can get to work right on time, we feel very anxious. That contributes to the energy and I think, the mental and emotional state that you are going to carry for the entire rest of your day, which is usually rooted around feeling behind, feeling frustrated, feeling angry, feeling frazzled. And so, what I really encourage here is wake up at least an hour or 2 hours even before you have to start getting ready for your day. And that time is just for you. That is your time. And that is the time that you can use to start building Max as a new habit into your life. And when you start prioritizing you and you put you first, and you already feel like you have this level of productivity before you walk into whatever other roles you play in your life, whether it's, at your job or as a parent, a son, a friend, whatever it is, you're going to feel like I'm already cared for, which again, that fuels our energy when we are caring for ourselves. That's self-care. Um, so the next one is 30 minutes of movement. So I don't say exercise, I say movement, because it's not about some, heart pumping, crazy, workout. If the only thing that you can do is go out for a walk for 30 minutes, that's okay. It can also be, when we're kids, we move our bodies in all kinds of ways. We don't even think about working out when we're kids. It's like go jump on the trampoline in the backyard with your kids for 15 minutes and then maybe go for a walk around the block. Whatever you can do to just start moving your body a little bit more. Again, that also helps to rebuild whatever energy stores you may have used in the day already. And so you're just kind of building upon these energy stores every time you choose to engage in one of these daily 5 activities. The 10 gratitudes. So gratitude is so powerful, and it is so important in terms of helping to rewire the way that our brain thinks. I don't know about you, but there is so much in the world that I feel like we can see negativity, or blocks, or barriers, or why we can't, or, the things that are wrong, or not, not going right in our life. And I think that that is part of our conditioning. That's a mindset. We can rework that mindset by working really hard. And sometimes there are some days when it is harder than other days to find things that we can look to, that we appreciate, and we find gratitude for, and that just make us feel loved or connected, or just moments of just simple joy. And when I say 10 gratitudes, that's in the 2-month tool. There's a whole section on gratitude towards the end of the tool. It's a separate section. Um, and so we do 3 gratitudes in the morning, you see on this page, and then, or 3, or however many you can fit there. And then I do really encourage people to work up to getting to 10 gratitudes a day. And here's the thing, when we are thinking about our gratitudes, it is specific to the things that occurred in your day today. And so when you start going through this, you start to think like, oh, I'm going to have to do 10 gratitudes during my evening routine. Or maybe you write them down throughout the day as you think of them. That's fine too. However you choose to do it is fine. It's just about, when am I going to be intentional about making sure I see the positive things that are happening in my life? I see the small acts of kindness that people are extending to me. I see the ways that my child is really putting an effort at school, or around the house, or in monitoring their own attitude, right? It's like I see the things that my spouse is doing in order to support me or help me, or the way that my friend thought, like, making sure that you wake up and we see these things, because here's the thing, they are happening. Even when our life feels terrible, these things are happening all around us. It's just that, right, we're so bogged down with being in the rut of what isn't going right, or with what feels ugly or hard or sad or fearful, that we lose sight of all these other things. And I think that this is where we begin to shift. Like I said, we begin to create new pathways in our brain that allow us to create a different type of thinking, and overall that allows us to have a new perception of the way we see ourselves, the way we see the people around us, the way we see our lives. And that really, just that one thing alone is such a powerful, powerful tool to help us interact differently in our life. And so the fifth one, I've left that blank. That's for you to decide. And here's the thing, if you want to start out with just the 4, that's fine too. But the last one is really just something that you can choose. Like, okay, I know this is a new habit that I want to start building into my life. Write it down. It can be centered around diet. It can be centered around, new types of learning. Maybe it's like, I'm going to practice my Spanish, or, I'm going to practice my piano or my guitar. I'm gonna draw, or I'm gonna paint. Like, it can be anything, right? Just a new thing that that you want to start incorporating in your life that will help you to have a higher quality of life. So that's what the Daily 5 is really about. And by choosing to engage in those things on a daily basis, again, that all fuels our energy level. And I know some people start this process and their energy is really low. But by choosing every single day intentionally to decide, I'm gonna make it a conscious choice to choose these things, over time you build a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. It's like the saying goes, the cup's half full, right? Well, some people start out and their cup is bone dry because they've just been giving, and not really understanding this connection between energy and the way that we function. And so once we start to understand the very, very important function that energy plays in our life, we start to see things and do things a little bit differently. So we have our routines on there, AM and PM. Again, at the beginning of the Max tool, there is a place for you to write out what you want your daily morning routine to be and your evening routine. Again, that is the perfect time to build in the habit of using this tool in the morning and in the evening. That little movement box, that's just whatever you did that day to move your body. Can be I played with my kids on the playground for half an hour. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Fuel log. Fuel is the word that we use for food, because food is medicine and food is fuel. There are certain foods that if we pay attention, we start to recognize as energy draining foods, right? They don't give us energy. They make us feel tired or sluggish or, full. And we feel like we just want to go take a nap. So when we start to pay attention to how we're fueling our body and how that connects to energy, we start to, again, we just kind of make some different choices. We're reestablishing those positive and negative emotional connections to why we're choosing what we're choosing. Today's plan, moving down, we have 4 different categories there. We have home, purpose, computer, and commute. The way that is set up, it's set up that way because it's basically where you're going to have to be when you do certain activities or on whatever today's plan is. And I will highlight that it is very, very important that whatever you do choose to put on today's plan is something that is relevant and vital to that day. So, I think the things that are relevant and vital to the day also include the ways that you care for yourself, right? A common ones that I will put under my home section are meditate intentionally. That is something that I want to be sure that I do, and I bring about a focus to it so that I do it because I know when I do it, that helps me to feel more relaxed. It gives me energy. It's just a really positive habit that I want to engage in on a daily basis. And if I write it down, then I am reminded to do that. So let's see, a daily meditation is something I put down. Listening to my audiobook or a podcast. Those are little habits, right? These are all things that I do to help build my energy and help me to set up how I'm thinking about myself, my life, my business, my family, my friends, whatever it is. What am I putting into my mind, right? That's helping me to propel me forward in my life. And that's really important, you guys. What we choose to consume with our mind is just as important as what we choose to consume through our mouth, right? And our food and liquid intake. Ways that we consume with our mind are TV, conversations with friends or family, the books we read, the magazines we read, the billboards we look at, and there's all kinds of ways that we consume things with our mind, and it's just getting, again, intentional about what we consume. Things at home, I don't want you to put, I need to do laundry and I gotta vacuum and I gotta dust and right, there's time for that, but just make sure that you're putting that on a day where that is vital for that to be done, because you really don't want to get in the habit of putting a whole bunch of things on your daily plan and not getting to half of them. Because here's the thing, that signals to our subconscious that, oh, just happens all the time. Not only does it make you feel like you failed in your day because you didn't get to a whole bunch of things, and it kind of like signals to your subconscious like, wow, I had a really crappy day because I didn't get half the stuff done on my list. Really think about, did I need to put this on my list for today? Or is there a better day that I can assign that activity to, that I know I'll have time to do it? I know I'm bringing a lot of examples in from my own life, but during my work days, Monday through Thursday, I do not put any kind of laundry, vacuuming, or any kind of like cleaning or any of that stuff on my weekdays. On my weekdays, I have to be very mindful of how I'm using my energy. And I don't think that vacuuming or doing laundry is a productive use of my energy in those 4 days. I have to be mindful that I have to keep my energy stores for all of the clients that I'm going to be seeing during the day. And that takes a lot of energy for me to have to maintain in those 4 days. So I don't want to spend it in ways that doesn't give back to me the next day, if that makes sense. So purpose. Purpose is, whatever you do. Like, what is your purpose for that day? Our purpose can change from day to day. So our purpose, on Monday through Thursday, again, one of my very large purposes is I am a therapist. And so what are some of the activities in my day that I might need to do to fulfill that purpose? Is it respond to emails or, generate a new treatment plan? So these are just different things. I'm giving some examples. Whatever you have to do specific for your purpose. Maybe there's not a lot of things that you have to write down there. Sometimes I'll just put in that space for my purpose, like how I want to show up in my purpose. Like I'll write a positive statement, like I am an exceptional therapist. That's what I'll put in that box. Now that we're doing telehealth from home, I'm seeing all my clients. So normally, if I wasn't, I was going into the office, I might put a list of the clients that I'm going to see under my purpose. But right now, I'm seeing all my clients through telehealth. So I put my client list under my computer. So these are only things that can be done at my computer. And again, same thing with purpose. It's like, okay, if you have stuff for work that you have to do, projects, little things, and maybe it doesn't include the computer, then you're going to put that under purpose, like a meeting with so and so at this time. That's going to go under purpose for your work life. So the wonderful thing that we have incorporated in the Max Planners is that we don't want there to be a separation from one area of your life to another. This is all encompassing. Everything should be here. Work, family, social calendar, whatever it is. It should all be in one place because that's how we live our lives. It includes all of us. And if we can see ourselves as this whole self, then we can fit everything in that we deem a priority. And we're not messing up by being like, oh my God, I didn't look at this calendar and I totally forgot, right? Everything's in one place. So moving down, computer, again, those are things that you have to do at your computer. Commute. There are things we can do on our commute to be productive. If I was commuting right now, I would actually listen to my audiobook there because that is something that I would typically do during my commute, 30-minute commute to and from work. Right now, I'm not commuting, so typically I'm writing no commute. However, commute can also include maybe the errands you have to run. It can also include, if you have to, if you want to make a phone call. I know it's probably not legal these days to make a phone call, but we all do it. So, it's like, hey, I'm going to talk to so-and-so on my drive to work. So that's where you could put a list of maybe calls that you needed to make. So, those are just ways to kind of utilize the daily plan portion in those 4 different areas that are broken up to where you are going to need to be in order to complete those activities. So on the right-hand side of the column, we have today's challenges, today's successes, and the morning gratitudes. I already talked about the gratitudes, and you can come up with 1, 2, 3, or however many you can fit in that little box. And then we have today's challenges and today's successes. So this is just as your day unfolds, what came up for you that was hard? Was it, physically related? Like, did you have a stomach ache or a headache? Did you feel achy? Did you have a hard time getting out of bed? Did you feel groggy? Did you feel restless? Did you have an argument with somebody? Were you ruminating on maybe an argument you had last week with somebody? What were the challenges that came up for you today? Right? So it's like, did you have a fight with your child, or were you frustrated that your child didn't clean their, whatever it was, write it down. And then the successes, that's just another way of looking at your day and saying, what did I do today? Or where do I feel proud of myself for whatever I did in this day? Maybe it was, I really didn't feel like doing my 30 minutes of movement today, but I feel really good that I did. I did do it. I was able to check that box even though I didn't want to do it. I did it anyways. So that is the daily overview of the 2-month tool. I know there's a lot there, so this video is much longer than our other ones. But I really wanted to make sure that I kind of fit in some of the philosophy behind like why these things are there. They look very simple, but when I describe them, you can see that they go deeper, right? They go deeper. There's much more meaning behind each area than it looks on paper. And here's the really cool thing is as you go about using this planner and really documenting these details about your life, you create this awareness of how you're doing, how you're functioning. There also becomes more certainty in knowing when you realize that you have a day where you're circling maybe a 2 or a 3. You probably can look down either at that day or maybe the days prior and look at your activity and look at what happened during the day, whether it was what I ate or, if I didn't do my routines or I didn't move for the last 3 days or, oh, wow, I had all these challenges. You're going to be able to see where you spent your energy and be like, oh, I know why I feel this way. Right? And here's the thing, when we can feel like we know and we're in control of it, that also moves us from being problem-oriented to solution-focused. We know how to solve the problem if we can identify what the problem is in the first place. So that is really what we're doing here in really keeping track and completing these daily pages. Um, I call this a tool, a planner, a journal. They're all interchangeable. And yes, it looks very much like just a planner, but it's also a journal. And so it's journaling the details of your life and how they unfold because these details matter. There's nothing too big or too small that we document that doesn't impact something else in our life. And using this tool to generate this kind of awareness really helps you to start designing and living an intentional life that you love. And so we're really excited to offer this to you. And again, if you have any questions about the 2-month daily pages, please feel free to check out our social media pages. We have an Instagram and a Facebook where you can comment and you can ask questions. We have people on there tracking that who are happy to answer any questions that might come up for you or areas that you might be struggling with using the tool. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you in the next one. I think I had mentioned that I was going to do the 2-month and the 4-month, but I'm realizing that this video is already 36 minutes long. So I'm actually going to create another video of the daily page for the 4-month tool because it is a little different in the 4-month tool. So again, thank you for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you in the next video.